Somewhere in 1998 or 1999, I started my PhD research after I'd done my bachelor and master studying the history of Qigong and so on. I started out as a Qigong teacher years and years before. I wrote a book about that and about yijing, and still I am busy doing my research on that. In the meantime, I became a Taoist, became part of the Pai in China, and I have been committing myself to the research and the practice all the time, very often also taking data from my classes that I was giving so that I would have a good idea about what would be the effect. My first project was basically determining what are the basic principles and rules that Chinese medicine and Qigong and Tai Chuan and Taoist Neidan practice are following to achieve health. I have been doing that and I've been experimenting with that on all the different kind of levels that in current TCM are not present also. So that means the TCM level is there for acupuncture, massage and so on. But the TCM, as the Chinese government as well as Western esoteric groups are considering what to do. I investigated the terminology and I investigated the errors that translators make because of involving themselves in these kind of things by themselves, following the same language that everybody uses without questioning where their translations come from or where their translations are in error. At the moment when I was doing that, I developed a theory. As an outcome of the research, I determined there are 13 principles of health practices that are relevant within the context of Chinese medicine. And all of them, they basically come down on leveraging the mechanisms of the body as Chinese medicine and Taoism sees them. Taoism and Chinese medicine in the past, as you know, they were the same, right? There was the spiritual realm and there was the physical realm and there was the political realm and the social realm and so on and so on. All these realms, they're all integrated within the Taoist theory, and then the practices, of course, as you can find also in the Sifu guide, they are overlapping all these different kind of realms. So there's things like what we teach in the bachelor and the master program for Chinese medicine, where you leverage knowledge from massage, you leverage knowledge from Kung Fu practice, but you also leverage knowledge from theoretical models like from herbal medicine and acupuncture, which are really separate. In modern TCM, everything is herbal medicine theory, and that is then leveraged in relationship to Western science, so that basically there was a historical rollback or roll away, you can say, from Chinese medicine theory towards Western science, and as a result of that you have TCM. Valid reasoning, so there's no problem with that per se, except that a lot of things, they get lost in the process. So there we go. From these 13 principles we can deduce about 13 different kind of methods of self-cultivation, exercises that we can consider Yangshen. So whatever people say nowadays about Yangshen, including some of my own students who have been publishing about this, in essence, the idea is basically what is encompassed in classical Taoist theories and not so much what is being described about that in modern theories. Of course, there is all kinds of applications. I apply myself a lot of these practices for elder people and for pregnant people and for sub-healthy people and for diseased people and so on and so on. I focus then on the exercise part because of the educational program, and also on the rejuvenation part where we work on the development and the redevelopment of yang in the body, in the digestion of the body, because these are the main resources for everything that happens also in TCM. So acupuncture treatment, whatever level you approach it, the leveraging of yang and the leveraging of digestion, these are the main thing. In practice, exercise, movement, mental states and also breathing are the main things. So if you look at all these things together, you see there's a whole different kind of package, and as a result of this package you can really see that as a result of that there is a lot of learning going on, and as a result of that my first PhD was basically concluded with the outcome that there are many techniques on the psychological level, because in the spiritual realm, by communicating with the gods and the spirits and so on of the body, there are particular kind of techniques which are transforming a person from exercise to self-massage to internal viewing and then eventually viewing of the spiritual realm, which can be leveraged in all different kind of ways, that can be used as simple psychological and psychiatrical methods. And in these methods, the main thing is that a person has to clean itself, because at the moment when it cleans itself, it's actually cleaning both the body of pathogenic things, which is the focus of TCM also, and it's also cleaning itself from emotional turmoil, which can be partly TCM, partly Taoist medicine, and also of turmoil in the way how we constructed our mind from childhood onward. So as a result of that, I built this family app where we are explaining how people grow throughout their life in the context of the whole of the life, being set in the ideal life and the life that people usually lead. So if the ideal life is 3 cycles of 60 years, most people, they reach somewhere around the 60, maybe to 100, so they are partway in the second cycle or they're in the first cycle. But if the first cycle is not good, the second cycle cannot be completed, right? So the first cycle is determinant for the second cycle. The second cycle is determinant for the third cycle. So as a result that we have like the ideal health can only be achieved in particular kind of circumstances. And this is where exercise comes in, because the exercise helps you to rejuvenate. The acupuncture and the massage help you to deal with actual problems. The herbal medicine is basically the medicine of nourishment, so that means that you have to learn how to eat. And then of course in certain cases you could have specialized medications like Hua To, and also how Daoland explained in their treatises on health medicine and the different stages and qualities of herbs and food products and how you use them. A lot of other texts also are dealing with food medicine, but you see in the last few centuries people focused on the commerce. So let's be fair about that. And the commerce means they have to make money. It means you shouldn't really cure people, but you should keep people in a process. This is basically what happens when you go to a medical hospital. You're going to be put into a process where they're going to research you, they're going to do something, they're going to research you again. And for every stage they get funding, either by you, when it is a private insurance and you pay for everything, or when it's a community insurance, communal insurance, then it is from everybody who is inside the organization or inside the package. And sometimes you get money back yourself as an individual if you have to pay something from your insurance. Sometimes it's prepaid for you and you pay a fee. You know, there's all kinds of different systems for this. In China, I know that the private saving from your salary is a very popular one. They don't do communal things in that sense. You can say that some European countries, they are, because of sharing the expenses of insurance, are much more communist than for instance China. In America they try to move away from communal insurance towards individual insurance, so that the poor cannot have good insurance, only the rich can have good insurance. And that's the same in the West. You can see that more and more people who are too poor to actually get a good insurance, they cannot get proper treatment because they cannot fund their medical care. And this is where Chinese medicine comes in, because the ethics of Chinese medicine traditionally is you cannot refuse any client with or without money. So that means that somebody who has money has to pay more, and somebody who has no money has to pay less. So these kind of things that all came out of my research. And my current research is how to leverage all this knowledge into a full-blown healthcare system. So for this I am developing a program where there is information about a couple of base skills that you need to do to make sure that you have control of your health. It includes meditation and breathing practices, basically regulating the naturalness of your breathing to get rid of all your emotional traumas. And then there is the nourishment training, where you learn to leverage an understanding of what food does to you, so it's actually also a meditation. And then there is the exercise system, where you do fast or slow Qigong depending on how you feel like or how you are capable of doing things, where you gradually increase the quality of your life by just basically mobilizing all kind of parts of your body. So not the medical Qigong that everybody does, like, oh, this exercise is good against back pain, this is good against headache, and so on. You learn over time, because of leveraging the whole system, you learn what you should use in what time. So for this there's about 120 exercises selected. Altogether I think I have something like 300 exercises that could be included, but I have selected 120 because that is the easiest to do, and you learn those in a period of about 6 weeks, a few months at most, depending on how fast you go. So all these kind of things, the learning curve for that is about 6 months. And in that research program that I'm going to do, you're also going to be there's going to be added information about what stage of your life you need what is your options in case you become an immortal, what are going to be the influences of your way of thinking, if you're religious or spiritual or whatever kind of things, what is the influence of language, like New Age language or Taoist language or Chinese medicine language or Buddhist language, all these kind of things, they're not necessarily the same. So these are going to be in there so that you can make informed choices, and these choices are based on the not necessarily having to learn Western medicine science. So there's no talk about calories, vitamins and so forth, although there is some information about these kind of things for those who really like that, and there's going to be links in there to pages where you can inform yourself about it. But the primary goal is to test if Taoist medicine in its basics actually is going to be sufficient to provide healthcare in emergencies or on general healthcare. That means that people can or cannot learn to develop themselves and their health over time in their lives. At the moment, when they are practicing these kind of things, then they start gaining control. So the research, of course, has to last for a longer time, but it has to actually be continuous. So I made also different levels where you can do things, because there's going to be surveys, there's going to be focus groups, there's going to be interviews and so on, to help us and to help you also create a better quality of your study. Then there's going to be a top-up program where you also can access all our weekly classes and more information that is going to be added gradually to that part. It's the weekly classes that are going to take a lot of time, so all the assistants, the people who are the coaches in the program, they are going to need a salary. So this is also why we have to ask you a fee for this program. This is therefore not a commercial talk, but this is a call to action. I would like you to join the program already. You can already join it and you will automatically be moved to the program as it comes later, and then you will also get a discount for your participation. So your base price is going to be the standard price for everything, and then your participation in the research will give you a discount because of the participation and the obligations that you will have to go through to be able to help us and yourself. So the idea is, of course, therefore, to help humanity to create something that they can take from generation to generation, and that your children can benefit from what you learn. If you would like to join the program to become a research assistant, that would of course be great, because then you have to go do the bachelor program where you get all the basic training, but you also get to do the coaching training for the application of the things that we are doing, because they are standard in your package. Everybody who is doing the bachelor program with us actually becomes a research assistant from the moment when they enter the bachelor program, and they learn all the different kind of skills, they learn how to deal with the program as a whole, and then gradually they can move on towards the master program to become a teacher or to become a therapist, whatever you prefer. It's all part of Chinese medicine. You can even go into the development of your psychological training, so you can become a psychological coach or whatever kind of things with the use of first yijing that you already learned about in all the basics anyway in the bachelor program. And that means that you learn to read from the classics, you learn to deal with the translation that we made especially for the program, and you learn to appreciate all the different kind of knowledges that are available about Chinese medicine that are outside of the realm of TCM and outside of the realm of common understanding of Chinese culture and modern understandings of Taoism. So why would you not do that?